in the Trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. Cincinnati Bengals continue preparation for the 2024 NFL season as training camp continues, and they get ready for a unique week because last practice in Cincinnati this week as they will board a plane, fly to Chicago, and have a joint practice with the Chicago Bears before having game number 2 of the preseason against the Bears in Chicago. Dave Lapham was on hand for the practice. Before practice even got started, really, it looked like we had a little issue with an injury.
Yeah, Brad Robbins had to leave the practice field pretty early today. It looked like he was kicking off and had a little bit of an issue. So hopefully it's nothing severe, but he wasn't able to punt, obviously wasn't able to hold. But that gave, whenever something like that takes place, it's an opportunity for the competition. So Ryan Rayco got more opportunity, and he did a good job holding. I know McPherson made his first 5 when they were kicking field goals at the end of practice. I couldn't really tell on the 6th one it was that close, but there were no issues, and there's a lot of high-fiving going on between McPherson and Ryan. So that's a good thing. Stanford Jennings was here at practice today, so it was good to see him. Every time I see him, I think about that kickoff return touchdown in the Super Bowl against the 49ers that he took to the house. I mean, that was just an incredible play in Bengals history. Today's practice, a good part of it when they weren't doing individual drills and special teams, they were still working kickoff return. Special teams would have segments between the little pieces of practice. In the first portion of practice, it was 2nd and 5 and play it out. In other words, 2nd and 5. If you don't get the first down, it's 3rd down. Play it out and see if you can get a first down. If you can't get it on 4th down, so be it. But if you get a first down on 3 consecutive plays on 2nd and 5, maximum of 4 snaps, and that's it. Then the next group is in. It was back and forth. Both teams made plays, but I thought defensively they did a pretty good job in that little segment. And then they situationally worked on 3rd down. It was 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7 type of range. It wasn't necessarily, really backed up 3rd and long kind of things, and the 3rd down conversions that you want to try to make. That was another period of practice that was good work for both sides as well. And then, of course, the third segment of practice was the unscripted move the ball. That they've been doing all training camp long, and I think that's standing them in good stead. So that was kind of like the layout of practice today. It was a good practice. They worked on kickoff return was the first thing you did to start practice on special teams, and that was kind of the theme throughout practice. And of course, they always have individual drills and all that sort of thing going on at the early stages of practice. Jamar Chase was a no-show today. He wasn't even on the football field for the first time. So that was a little bit different and unusual. I was hopeful that maybe he was going to start to practice today when training camp started, but that's not the case. So hopefully whatever the situation is there gets rectified. Charlie Jones didn't go today. Mims didn't go today. Obviously, Von Bell and T. Higgins looked like they're having veteran days. We mentioned Robbins had to leave practice early. B.J. Hill, he's a proud papa, a baby born. B.J. Hill had the day off today. Jake Browning was not out in the practice field today with a little bit of a rib problem. So it's that time of training camp. Guys are starting to get nipped up. It's grind time. We know what that's all about. So that was pretty much the layout. And then at the end of practice, Zach always does this, has a little competitive thing to go on. And if they do it successfully, no meetings. So Troy Walters, the wide receiver coach, who was a punt returner, kick returner in his days in the National Football League with the Colts and others, and receiver out of Stanford, he was also a good return guy. He had to catch punts out of the jugs gun. He had to catch, the jugs simulating the long punt, and he caught 2 with 2 hands, and he caught 1 with 1 hand, kind of tipped it to his other hand, but he caught all 3 of them. So as a result of that, no meetings, it looks like tonight. For the players as they get ready to travel tomorrow and head out, and a little bit of a opportunity for giving a different routine, change the pace. You get in a rut and same stuff over and over and over again, meetings, practice, more meetings, and change up the routine and get out of that rut if there is one. I'll tell you who I'm impressed with as a young coach is Coach Kovacs. He's doing a damn good job at the safety position with his guys. He is a great communicator, and you can always tell when his players are on point listening to, because he says a lot in a few words. I mean, he gets his point across so succinctly and so efficiently, and he's got all his safeties playing well. That position group has really, I thought, had a very, very strong training camp as a whole. So I think it's a credit to him, a tip of the cap to him, for his ability to be such a great communicator. And I think we've talked about it. I think that's something that, Zach does himself, and that he looks for in every single coach on his staff, not just coordinators, but position group coaches. It's the ability to communicate. You might know a ton of football, but if you can't get it across, and you can't get it across understandably and easily, it doesn't do much good. So, the one thing that going into this football game that really has to be worked on, though, Dave, and hopefully it will be in the joint practices as well as the game on Saturday. In the Tampa Bay game, had 5 straight 3-and-outs. There was a penalty on each one of those drives. And, Tampa Bay, Chicago, everybody's good enough defensively to stop you, and you don't need to help them. So 5 straight drives, you go 3-and-out, and you incur a penalty. That's tough to overcome. It gets you off schedule, and you get problems there. So, if you clean it up and just make the defense make plays on you and don't help them, I think that's going to be that'll make a big difference in the football game. So, I think that's going to be something to watch. I think that's been a point has been made in that regard. So we'll see. We'll see if it becomes something that changes, because 8 penalties is way too many, and on 5 consecutive drives to have 5 straight 3-and-outs and a penalty in each one of them, that's just not going to help you. But overall, I think the coaching staff feels that there was more good than bad in that first preseason game. And now with the joint practices and preseason game number 2, correct your mistakes. It's good tape for 31 other teams when you're a player fighting for your life, and it's not going to be a complicated game plan. I'll let guys not be encumbered mentally, but go out and be able to, make quick decisions and see if they can win their individual battles. And that's probably the way it's going to be going now. DeJohn Anthony is going to be playing. He's got a shield, like a face shield under his helmet to protect that broken nose. That's another player that was nicked up a little bit in the football game, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if 2 guys, Miles Murphy and Trent Brown, can prove that they're still capable of playing like starters. And because you need, as we've seen, injuries, the attrition. A lot of it's going to take place during the course of the season. And Trent Brown has got a long career, a distinguished career, and you can never take anything for granted. You can't take for granted that everybody's going to have the job that they're hoping to have. You just got to go out and you got to win it. You got to get it done on a yearly basis, and it starts at training camp. And so everybody's out there competing. Doesn't matter how many years you've been in the league. Everybody's looking to either maintain their role or expand their role, and it's a competitive environment. There could be a shakeup amongst the offensive linemen. Some of the young offensive linemen are making some noise, and it's going to be Matt Lee. I think he's competed well. I think it's time now that 2 things happen with the offensive line. Number one, you're going to have to start playing guys against a little bit better competition, because if Lee does make the team, he's going to be, if he has to go into a football game, he's not going to be going against guys that are fighting to make an NFL roster. He's going to be going against veteran, accomplished guys that have been around a while. So I think you need to maybe expose him to a little bit higher level of competition. I know Trey Hill was taking some snaps this week at guard. So, that's the thing with the offensive line. It's I think the offensive line room as a whole is better, and there's a good battle going on for, say, offensive line spots 6 through 10, and position flexibility is a key. It's a must. The young guys are making a push. So, if you're a guy that's maybe been here for 3, 4, 5 years, never feel secure. Particularly if you're not a starter, you can't feel like, oh yeah, man, all I have to do is show up and not just the offensive line. That's anywhere. That's the beauty of the National Football League. So, we'll see. I mean, there's battles going on at corner. There's battles going on at safety, and this is the time of training camp, Dave, where, it's like, okay, maybe you're a little, the dog days, you're a little weary, you're a little tired, but you gotta push yourself. You gotta be mentally tough, push yourself, because man, now it's time to perform, and making a roster, there's no guarantee for anybody.
You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. First Star Logistics is hiring freight agents right now. It's an asset-based company, 24/7 support, unsaturated agent network, highest commission percentage in the industry. Over 30,000 pre-screened carriers as well. Visit firststarlogistics.com/careers to get the latest information on openings, one of the fastest growing companies in Cincinnati and a great place to work. Lap, you talked about, the dog days. It's interesting how this week is going, the rest of this week's going to play out, and then the following week, because you have the trip tomorrow, the plane ride kind of gives the players a little break. They've got Thursday, they got the practice with the Bears themselves, and then Saturday at 1 o'clock, the preseason game. But then they come right back, and they're going to do a joint practice with the Colts, and they're going to play on Thursday night, their third and final preseason game. That's a short span for a lot of contact.
It is. But what you're doing is, Zach's pretty good at in today's practice was a good indicator. It was a little bit shorter. Try to let the players get their legs back. He's simulating what a week might look like during getting ready for a National Football League game. Obviously it might be a little bit different in terms of the day that you're doing something. This Tuesday was like a Thursday. Tomorrow's like a Friday, or Saturday. And then the game on Thursday is like a Sunday. And then the following week, though, you're going to play on Sunday night, and the Bengals have Thursday night matchups. So, you have to get your body used to the rhythm and the flow of the normal work week. I mean, this game kicks off at 1 o'clock. Now you have other games that are going to be kicking off 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and they're going to be on different nights. So I do think that the way the preseason schedules are formed now, it's like it does get you ready for, life in the National Football League on a week-to-week basis. Not every week is going to be Sunday at 1 o'clock or Sunday at 4 o'clock. You're going to have Sunday night games. You're going to have Monday night games. You're going to have Thursday night games. You might have a Friday game as the holidays approach. You might have a Saturday game as the holidays approach. So playing on all the days they do in the preseason, I think is a precursor that you're going to have to get yourself mentally and physically ready to handle long weeks, short weeks, and everything in between.
It's probably going to be, like you said, the way the schedule plays out can be all sorts of different, extra days, fewer days. And this season, we've talked about it previously. This schedule, the Cincinnati Bengals have got a lot of primetime games where they're going to be short weeks, and you have to adjust to that, especially the mental aspect of it, along with the physical aspect of it. Have you ever, has it gotten to the point with the game where these schedules, because TV is just wanting more and more NFL football, to where it's they always say they want to talk about player safety, but it doesn't seem to be when they sit there and put together these schedules.
Yeah, player safety is something that is easy to talk about. It's harder to justify in both sides' minds when the networks are putting billions of dollars on the table. It's like, this network will take the Thursday night package. This network will take the Monday night package. These two networks or three networks have, most of the Sunday games. And they're all bidding. The prices are just going, they're soaring. The NFL is extremely popular. So, the only way that the NFL can justify charging the dollars that they charge for these the TV rights is giving exclusivity to networks to up the ante for those particular games, and it trickles down. You got quarterbacks making $50 million, you got wide receivers making between 30 and 35 million a year. It's crazy, and the owners, don't feel sorry for them. They're going to the bank and banking big bucks. So it is like we've talked about, it's not a Fortune 50. It's I don't know, Fortune whatever. It's up there. It is one of the biggest, one of the biggest businesses in the world, multi-billion-dollar business.
I've got a question for you, Dave. So earlier today, it came out, Patriots head coach Jerry Mayo told his players, as the Bengals get ready for these joint practices, he basically told his players, hey, if you engage in a fight during a joint practice and you're a starter, you'll play the entire preseason game. Is that a I know it's a good threat, but it's not I don't think that's a smart threat with the way this game is, especially with injury. You lose a possible starter to an injury for the whole season on some craziness.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that that's kind of going overboard, because I mean, what these joint practices are, it's good work, but it's a controlled environment. So you're not in danger in terms of getting tackled, taken to the ground, getting caught in pile-ups that are a little bit extraordinary or whatever the case may be. The whistle can blow in these joint practices much differently than they do in an NFL game. And honestly, the injury risk is much, much lower. But I saw teammates break their hands in football fights stupidly. It's not a very intelligent thing to do. I mean, certainly not going to do damage to a guy trying to punch his head through his helmet. I mean, that's not going to get much done other than breaking your own hand. So there can be injuries sustained in these fights, and so that's obviously a big reason why they don't want they don't want something to happen in one of these altercations that's not football related whatsoever. I don't know. It's, to me, instead of punishing the whole team and, quote, punishing the whole team, having them play an entire preseason game, find the guy that got in a fight, take it out of his hide. Take a game check away from him or something. I mean, whatever the collective bargaining agreement allows you to do, I'd do it to the fullest. But, I'm not sure that it makes sense. I guess his mindset is, okay, well, maybe it'll help make them make the decision not to fight, because now I'm putting my whole team in jeopardy. My whole team's going to be, you son of a buck, what are you doing? Why are you getting in a fight? Now we all have to pay for your mistake. We all have to play the entire preseason game. So maybe he's looking for that to be added pressure to make guys think through a little bit further when they are thinking about having a throwdown and a fight during one of these joint practices, these controlled scrimmages.
You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham. Do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and the like button on the videos, because that helps us with the algorithm to grow the YouTube channel. And we can't thank everyone enough for who has subscribed recently and all those who have been with us since day one. Believe it or not, season 4 is almost here, Lap, and we've been doing In the Trenches. And we just can't thank people enough that they spend their time with what we try to put out. And we hope you feel it's a quality product. But you can do a little bit extra for us by helping us grow this channel. You can also catch audio of most of what we put out wherever you get your podcast from. Lap, I know you probably want to you got to get ready, because you got to get on a plane tomorrow, fly to Chicago. You get to spend a few days in the Windy City.
That's right. I'll be doing some team bonding up in the Windy City. Looks like I might be able to catch up with a couple of friends up there, which will be fun. But yeah, we're up there. We fly up Wednesday, get in around dinner time on Wednesday, and have the joint practices on Thursday. And the team goes to Soldier Field or wherever the practice facility is. They might go to Soldier Field on Thursday, the actual field for a walkthrough on Friday, and then the preseason game on Saturday, which is a 1:00 kick. Thankfully, I'm glad that it's not. It's going to be up there all that time. I'm glad it's not. Man, got to stay around there for another day until a nighttime kickoff. So that's one plus. We'll be getting home in a reasonable hour. And good news is Chicago's a hop, skip, and a jump. It's almost like a flip of the coin. Is it better to get on a bus and drive up there, or take a plane, wait for buses? Take a bus to the hotel. It's not that many air miles away, but it still is a little bit of a pain in the neck in terms of guys, traveling for the first time and getting back in the rhythm of doing that. But I remember the first time I traveled for an NFL game in the preseason, it was a big deal. Hey man, I'm traveling with an NFL team. This is something for the scrapbook. You can always have it, a mental scrapbook, if not a physical scrapbook. So I'm sure, a lot of the young bucks are going to be pretty excited about it for sure.
Be sure you're staying In the Trenches with Dave Lapham. We have a great interview. We spent some time with Orlando Brown Jr. Sunday during his off day, and he loves coming in the trenches with you, Lap. But we want to make sure that'll be released tomorrow. And then our plan is to do a call with Lap Thursday after the joint practices. But as you said yesterday, Lap, weather reports early out of Chicago is calling for like an 80% chance of precipitation.
Yep.
Temperature-wise, though, only 78 with like a 77% humidity. But they're calling for rain Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Well, I'm most worried about when I see the scattered thunderstorms, because rain is one thing, but when you're talking thunder and lightning, that's a problem. I mean, that's a major problem. So, like we talked about in our earlier podcast, what do you do? Do you say, okay, well, I guess we have to practice individually? Do you practice individually and then come back for a joint scrimmage inside? Because when you're talking 180 players, it's tough for all those bodies to be there in the same time, running individual drills everywhere, and hard to do 7-on-7 with that many people and running in two different locations. I mean, it's just tough. There's not enough square footage, so it's going to be interesting to see what they end up deciding to do. And man, it would be awfully tough if go up there and travel up there and stay in the hotel and do all that and basically do what you could have done here at Cincinnati in terms of practicing. So hopefully if they're able to get something figured out and get something done, because that they're looking forward to that work. There's no question. But hey, Mother Nature has to cooperate as well.
Again, we want to thank everybody for being with us, and we want to thank Lap for taking the time after all these practices during the preseason. His days are long, especially standing out in the sunshine and humidity of the Cincinnati area. But again, we can't stress enough. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. We want to also encourage you to hit the like button. That helps the algorithm. Until next time, this is Dave Burke for Dave Lapham for In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. Hooday.
Hooday, Dave.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.